Welcome to this tutorial on links. Every chart in Lexchart has cards and links. A card can be any legal entity. A link is the connection between cards, such as an ownership, management, or financing relationship. Links can have data about the relationship. In Lexchart, those are called link notes. In this tutorial, we have a startup, Great NewCo, which is taking an investment from big capital. I will create a link between big capital and Great NewCo to reflect that investment. I will add link notes and format them. Along the way, we'll look at some advanced features around links and formatting. There are two ways to add links in Lexchart between two cards. You can come to the toolbar and choose the Add New Link button. You can also go to the menu under Insert and choose Add Link. Both of those will open the Add Link window for you. You can also create links between cards with the chart modal. We have an entirely separate tutorial on the chart modal, which I recommend you watch. It is a perfectly valid way to accomplish what I'm going to show you right here. But because we have a separate tutorial on that button, we're going to focus on this one, adding links this way. So let's open that and create that connection. Now you'll notice that, like the card modal, the link window here shows us both data and design options. So we can create the data about that connection, and then we can design that connection to look just like we want it. Let's start by just creating the connection and see what that does to our chart. So in the parents, we're going to choose big capital. All the cards on our chart are available to us. We're going to select big capital, and we're going to go select Great NewCo. And of course, we can search, so if there were many cards, we could simply type in search, but we'll just choose Great NewCo. Let's see what that does to our chart. And you'll notice that we now have a unified chart because Big Capital's investment line is now connected into Great NewCo, so Francis and Frank Founders lines are also coming into Great NewCo. So we've accomplished our objective. We created a link between Big Capital and Great NewCo, but it doesn't actually communicate what we want to communicate, which is this is a potential investment. There are going to be some deal terms we want to show in that line, and the deal hasn't closed, so we also want to show that it's not of the same status as Frank and Francis's lines into Great NewCo. So let's go back and edit this connection, this link, and communicate some more information. So we'll choose Edit. And you'll notice that Lexchart opens the window, but it places Big Capital and Great NewCo already in position, ready for us to add some information. So on the data side of this equation, as with cards, we can create labels and data, if we choose, to give us consistent information across the chart and across our cards. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to separate the financial and voting interest, maybe as a part of their deal. So here we've created that financial interest and voting interests, different percentages, and you'll see that it's represented over here on the design side as well. So again, before we make changes to the layout of this, let's just see what the effect on the chart is. And you'll see that here we are in the chart, and Lexchart has placed that link note for maximum readability. However, sometimes there is overlap between these. I'll show you what that might look like. There we go. You might get something like this, where there's a little bit of overlap in the link note. You have several options to fix this. One is to go to manual mode and manually move it, but the other is, it's a little simpler, is just expand the chart gap a little bit, and that will often completely resolve any overlapping issues, and you still have a perfectly readable chart that way as well. Now, let's use these labels that we've created and enhance some of our other lines. So let's go to Frank Founders line and let's edit this one a little bit. And you'll see we got Frank Founder and Great NewCo, and our labels that we created for that other line are available here. So we're going to choose financial interests, and maybe we'll just say 45%, and voting interests. Again, all just examples, we're just making this up. So here, now we have labels and data consistently presented on two of our lines, nicely reusing those labels in our connections. Now, you do not have to be consistent. And we have an example where we might not want to be consistent. So big capital, for example, is making a proposed investment. Maybe we want to show that amount on the line. So we can actually edit this, and we'll add a new label. Proposed investment of $3.5 million. And so now we have a different line item than we do for Frank, but we have some consistency where it makes sense. And we'll expand that chart gap, and that overlap is resolved. So that's the basic information. Now maybe we want to change the layout of some of these things. So let's just come up with an example here. We're going to change the layout. We'll edit this again. And you can use the design half of this window to lay out that link note however you want. So for example, you might want to right align those labels and left align the numbers to place the labels close to the values. Or you might do the opposite and separate them so they're edge to edge on the other side. You can use standard formatting things to bold an item or unbold it, underline or not, italicize. You can change the font size of them individually or collectively. You can change the text color, fill, border of the entire link note, and the alignment as I just showed you. These two buttons on the side control the relative position of the labels and data. So currently these are horizontally aligned, they're side by side, but I can make them vertically aligned. And because of my alignment changes, that'll look strange. Let's move those to left aligned. So now I have a vertical stack of labels and data that will be presented in this vertical column on the chart. I can reverse the order of that by selecting the vertical alignment again, placing the data on top and the labels underneath. I can combine this with some of the other formatting options. For example, make the labels small and make the data quite large. And we'll see what that effect is in just a moment. You could always undo this by simply clicking the horizontal, and that will position them side by side. And if you select horizontal a second time, it will move the data to the left and the labels to the right. But we want them vertically done. So let's take a look at that. And there we have this vertical presentation of financial interests, voting interests, and proposed investments. Now, one other thing we can do is we can format these with color and what have you. So we're going to make these blue just to illustrate this point that you can format that. So we formatted the labels and data, but we also want to format the line. This solid line seems to communicate that this deal is closed, and it's not. So it's a proposed arrangement. So we want to select the line and make it dotted. So now we have a dotted line that comes in to Great NewCo and solid lines from Francis Founder and Frank Founder. And there's one other line choice that with a small chart maybe is less necessary, but when your charts become quite large and you have many entities on a single row all coming into a subsidiary below, there's a very handy link style option. So these are all traditional elbow style lines, but you can switch to a curved line, and that will delineate these curves quite a bit, especially when there are many cards. So that's always an option available to you to highlight that. And of course, you can apply color to these lines if you want as well. So I can make this blue to indicate that's what we're talking about. And so now I'm beginning to communicate a lot more in this link and the link note about what's going on in this chart. Now, one final thing, I want to just show you how to get these to be consistent. If you select more than one link note together, like I've done here, and then you choose the edit option, It'll open the ability to edit the link. It won't let you edit the data because the data is different across all of them, but you can format them consistently. So maybe instead of vertically, I want them both to be back and horizontal, and I want the label to be over here, and maybe I want the label to be a light gray, but I want the data to be blue and bold. And so I've made a couple of changes there, and now that's what we get right there. So they're now consistent in their formatting, and they're formatted just the way I wanted. That's how you add and edit links and link notes in Lexchart. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please come back for more.